Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm here to read a comic. And today's comic is Teenage Love, issue number 75, dated March 1971. And this is 4 stories of love from Charleston Comics. We're told that these are teenagers. Okay, it's a little questionable. Also, what's a little questionable are the conclusions that are drawn from these stories. Charleston was run by these conservative, Italian guys, and they had certain ideas on what male-female relationships should be, and they definitely show their influence here. Because the guys that the Charleston guys wanted the young girls to be with, kind of sketchy, a lot of sexism. So I'm going to go into the first story. It's called Wild Kisses, and our protagonist, and there are 3, are Rita. Then there's who else? There's Ward. I think his name is Ward. And there's another guy involved because there's Ward, there's Rita, and there's Tommy. Okay, so those are the 3 protagonists. There's a beach scene. It's a little reminiscent of the opening of Jaws here with the fire log and so forth. But all the participants here, they're on their motorbikes, and apparently the police have been called into this area. I guess someone called the police on these young whippersnappers, because they're the rebels, they're the wild ones. And one of the guys, he's already on his motorbike with his girlfriend in tow behind him, and he's saying, "Split, cats. The fuzz is moving in for a bust." And we see Ward. He kind of looks like a Vulcan here. He's kissing this beautiful blonde, which we know is Rita. He's on a Yamaha motorcycle. So it was interesting. Maybe I don't know if this artist had a choice or not. Motorcycles are infamous among comic book artists because comic book artists hated drawing them. That's one of the reasons why Ghost Rider had so many artists, because drawing the motorcycle just drove the artist nuts. Because 1, it's boring, and 2, it has to be done just right. Gonna turn the page. So anyway, again, Ward is showing no sense of urgency as the police are getting closer and closer. One thing I want to note, and I don't want to forget it, is the lettering. This was typed. And apparently, Charleston had a special typewriter that came from Italy, and it was much larger than a normal typewriter. And what they would do is that rather than having a letterer, someone actually, ink in the dialogue and the speech and thought balloons. They would type it in. And sometimes this typing was quite noticeable, including this one. Apparently, it was the Charleston secretaries who did that, and they just worked on this very large typewriter, and so that takes a little humanity out of the work here. The police, they arrive at the point, but Ward had just pulled out. So at this point, they're going to have to chase Ward and probably some of the other guys on the motorbikes. There are other civilians in this party. So maybe not all of them were associated with the motorcycle club, or maybe these guys just couldn't get on the motorcycle soon enough. So anyway, Ward looking just like Donny Osmond here. He's driving off. "I'm a bad boy" here. He's on a Yamaha motorcycle. Rita's enjoying the excitement though. She's kind of like, on one hand, Ward's the bad boy, but on the other hand, Ward also excites her. Rita wants Ward to kind of slow down, but he doesn't want to hear that, so he just goes faster. So, and Rita's not mentioning that in her thought balloons that if I tell him to do something, he's going to do the opposite. So again, there's she has this attraction to this guy, but on the other hand, she does recognize where this guy could take her into bad places. So then Ward drives Rita home, and they're in the driveway. Rita wants to sneak into the home because she doesn't want her parents to finding out, and the thing is that they have a indoor housekeeper, kind of like the Brady's, and Rita doesn't want her to be woken up because then she'll start pestering me about being around crappy people like you. Ward, the crappy person, says, "Tell the old cow to mind her own business, chick." So he's kind of like on Old MacDonald there. But then, as Rita's walking off to get into her house, Ward grabs her wrist from behind. This very intimidating, aggressive move here, and he's pushing Rita forward toward him. And again, he's saying, "No means yes with me, chick." And he's saying that no one tells Ward Kinner, "No, baby." So then Ward here kind of forces himself on Rita here with this passionate kiss. Rita is returning the energy back. So again, she likes the bad boy thing. Turn the page. So we then see Rita. She gets home. Her parents are up, so she can't sneak in. Her dad says, "Were you with the alien horde again, Rita?" And Rita says, "Dad, please don't bug me about the..." And then she's interrupted here. The alien horde. that really kind of stuck out, especially looking at these 1950s parents. And the father interrupts. "I didn't ask you not to associate with them, Rita. I ordered you to avoid them. Now I'm going to..." And he's like going to pull out the belt and kind of spank his 17-year-old daughter. The mother interrupts and saying, "We'll discuss this tomorrow." Basically saying, "Listen, I'm on Team Rita, and Rita needs a whole night to come up with some excuses that are lame but plausible enough to satisfy us." So anyway, Rita's sleeping. She's trying to get some sleep. She's deep in thought. She's noting that both mom and dad, they really don't like her being with Ward. But at the same time, she finds Ward to be so exciting that she can't break that addiction, I should say. Turn the page. I'm going to look at this ad for a sauna suit. They're actually quite pricey for the time. I guess it's just a specialized suit that's supposed to help you lose weight in those areas. It doesn't work. Turn the page. So anyway, Rita's kind of on the fence with Ward because as much as she likes him, she knows that he's a bad influence. So, the mom is agreeing with the dad. She wasn't as vocal as last night. I think the grandma here is saying that that one of the reasons they dislike Ward is that they find his motorcycle to be too noisy, and it's waking them up. So they're kind of saying, "Listen, can you, if you have to find true love, can you make sure they have a nice, quiet car?" So anyway, Rita's like, whatever, Rita says she decided she's not going to see Ward. And now they have a little teardrop. So this decision weighed heavily on Rita here. but nevertheless, she agrees she's going to break up with Ward here. He's too much of a bad boy. Now she's going to the country club here to play tennis and to kind of get her mind off of things, exercise, and she meets another member of the country club. And this guy's name is Tommy. Tommy's a really good-looking guy. He's much more kind of establishment than rebel, because Ward kind of had that rebel look to him, kind of like the rebel look that you would see on the TV show The Monkees, but nevertheless kind of a rebel look. Where Tommy here, he's much more conventionally dressed, kind of that GQ look. So anyway, Rita does like Tommy, but the thing is, she does note that Tommy is not as exciting as Ward is. But nevertheless, she does hit it off with him. He's a good-looking guy. He's interesting. He's just he doesn't have the wow factor in Rita's eyes. But nevertheless, she finds him acceptable, and she agrees to go on a date with him. Turn the page. Again, Rita's thinking Tommy's nice. He's a nice boy, but he's too tame. He's not wild. Then she's talking to Mom and Dad about going out with Tommy. Both Mom and Dad approve of Tommy. They find Tommy to be very acceptable, very country club acceptable. So they go on a date, and they're going to this place called the Hang Up. And the Hang Up is a kind of this groovy 1960s bar that finds itself in 1971. So it's a little dated, but nevertheless, it's sort of fitting of the times, the end of those times. So anyway, Ward is actually in a kind of a tasteful suit here, three-piece suit here. And Rita's a little nervous, saying, "Hey, I didn't expect you to go to a wild and crazy place like this." And Tommy's saying, "Yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of like being here. It's a really groovy vibe." So then what happens is it turns out that Ward is at the restaurant too, because one of his friends snitches Rita out. So Ward goes over to Rita in her table, and she kind of pushes Tommy to the side here, and he says, "Come here, you're still my chick. I don't know what he's doing with my merchandise, but you're coming with me. You're my merchandise." Then Tommy says something to Ward, and the two of them face off. And Tommy says, "I'm going to kick your ass in the most cowardly ways possible." So one of the things is that if Ward lays a hand on Tommy, Tommy is going to get the entire football team to beat him up. And he's saying, "Listen, man, I'm going to F you up, but God damn it, my fist will not be doing the throwing. I will not be hitting you." And he's also saying that I'll go out and run and drive my car over your motorbikes too. So he's saying, "Listen, if you, hey, I'm a puss." Okay, gonna turn the page. Sorry, kind of the gummies are kicking in. And then Tommy's getting really belligerent here. He's kind of acting like Tommy DeSimone from Goodfellas here. And then he says to Ward, "She's with me, Kenner, and nobody touches her, dances with her, talks to her, or even looks at her. You start anything, and I'll keep it going longer than you'll believe." And then Ward is like, "Cool it, look, cool it, Mac. We were just leaving anyway." And Rita says, "You weren't bluffing, right, Tommy?" And Ward's slinking away, and Tommy's like, "You're right. I was gonna have other people fight for me, but God damn it, I could pay them enough to beat the crap out of this guy." So Tommy then, he's playing the tough guy act. He's saying, "Let's dance, Rita." Rita's like, "I'm almost afraid to refuse, Tommy." So this is like, Rita finds this manly. So this is what the conservatism makers of the comic were kind of like pushing. Women, you need a guy to control you. This whole women's lib stuff, forget about that. Throw that out the window. You find a guy that you're effing afraid of, that you're going to have a partnership in which you are not an equal partner, and you are basically a glorified servant. You go for it. So Rita finds Tommy more exciting. He's just a bigger bully. That's it. And will these two make it? They're going to have a semi-abusive relationship. So I'm not sure. So the next story is What Does Anyone Know? And this is a somewhat contemporary storyline. It deals with protests on college and university campuses. Those were very big in the 1970s. There was that very unfortunate incident at Kent State. That was huge news when even when I was a kid, and I remember stuff much later. Anyway, we have three protagonists here. One is Robbie. Robbie's the bad boy. He's dressed as a hippie. I gotta find out the names of the other two. Janie. So Janie, and I think the other one is I forgot his name. I think he had a common name. Oh, god damn it! I can't find these names. Les. Is it Les? Okay. So the three protagonists are Janie, Robbie, who's the bad boy, and Les, who's the hero football star. So what's happening? There's a protest going on. We see the police there. The police are in riot gear. And the police officer, he notices that Robbie and Janie are in this passionate kiss. They're dressed, hippie appropriate, and they have their signs. It looks like they're planning a sit-in. So the thing is, they're going to occupy the administration building and get to the president's office, President Abbott. And Janie's saying she can't get involved with this J6 riot here because she's expected to be home. She has to make Daddy happy. But nevertheless, Robbie is determined to go through with his plan to storm the president's office. Turn the page. So then we see Les come in. Les is the blonde-haired, good-looking quarterback type guy, even though he looks kind of like a Neanderthal in these drawings. But nevertheless, he's the good guy. He's the conservative guy. He's the guy you root for. He's the football player. He's not the dirty hippie. And he stops Janie from going into the building. And so the two are kind of fighting over Janie at this point. It looks like Les does respect Janie's agency. So he's not in this, you do what I say or else. He's giving Janie the opportunity to, express what she wants to do, but he wants to make sure that she knows exactly what she's doing. I think Janie does not like this possessiveness that she's seeing from Les. So she strikes out against that by going with Robbie into the office, even though she doesn't want to do this. And Janie's concerned about getting kicked out of school. So she actually has a genuine concern about this kind of Scooby-Doo adventure that Robbie wants to do. I think he wants to vandalize the offices like J6. They finally made it into the office. And it doesn't look like Robbie has a plan. He's just occupying the office, but that's it. Les breaks in. And she says, okay, I'm going to take you out of this now. Right now, this is a felony you have committed, but no one knows about it. So if I take you out as quietly as possible, you won't get into trouble. Les doesn't care if Robbie's there or not. So anyway, Les grabs Janice. He kind of treats her like a football, with her butt showing up first out in front. The police officer, there is a police officer in riot gear, but he doesn't club them. He lets them go. He says, "Listen, just return the female to the proper owner because we know she's a girl, and she's not a fully um, complete human being. She does belong to daddy or someone else or maybe her husband." And Les is okay with this type of thing. He says, "Thanks, Officer Miller." He says Mr. Miller, but he should be saying officer. Janie's concerned because the police officer knows her and knows her dad. So she's worried she's going to get narked out by the narcs. Les is not that sympathetic to this problem, saying you basically deserve that for hanging out with that loser. And then the two of them, they go to Janie's parents. And he wants an explanation as to why Janie was out so late. And her explanation, and Les kind of fesses up that, listen, this is what happened. And we were at the school and we were watching the student protest. So Les is saying that we were at the student protest, but he's kind of not necessarily mentioning that Janie was one of the occupiers. The father says their parents are the ones to blame. They should pull the troublemakers out of school and send them out to work. Yeah, I'm sure those rioting kids who are really angry and really pissed off and might be somewhat inebriated on powerful substances, I'm sure they'll make great employees, according to MAGA Dad here. Nevertheless, Janie's still concerned about Dad finding out the full story because they've successfully lied so far, but they don't know how long the lie is going to go. And Janie's the one who's most concerned because the consequences will fall on her. Les is saying, telling Janie to relax, but it's hard for Janie to do that, and she's very concerned here while she's trying to sleep. Turn the page. Take a look at an ad here, kind of funny. You get a real Hawaiian muumuu. Muumuus are these things that were kind of like these, women would wear them. They're kind of like drapes. And they're kind of infamous for, if, the person is so overweight, they have to wear muumuus. Or if they're like Mrs. Roper on Three's Company. Then there's kind of these quote-unquote sauna suits, they were called like fat suits. The idea is that if you sweat, you'll lose weight, which is true, but you're losing water weight. Take a look at this other ad for fan photos. I think it's $1 a photo. But the thing was, I guess mailing was so cheap that you could sell something for $1 and still make a profit if you're selling enough of them. So it's just basically these photographs of various celebrities who were well known at the time. Number one is Bobby Sherman, Goldie Hawn, Janis Joplin, Peter Fonda, Dustin Hoffman. Oh man, it's just a who's who. Ali McGraw, Karen Valentine, Judy Carney, who kind of had a very successful career early in the 60s, then just totally fell off the map. There's a bunch of other well-known musical groups. Interesting. So anyway, it's the next morning. Janie, who is a college student, even though she is not treated like one, she goes to the campus and she sees Robbie. And she asks Robbie what happened. And Robbie said that, quote, some heroic type got into the administration building and destroyed the president's file. So clearly Robbie's talking about himself here. And Janie's concerned because she was in that office with him, even though she was taken out. But nevertheless, she is open to legal liability here. Janie's concerned that Robbie's going to snitch himself out, that Robbie's taking so many chances that at some point they're going to point the finger at him. But Janie's saying kind of you need to keep a lower profile, but Robbie's not hearing that. And Robbie also brings up Les, the football player. And Janie's angry because she feels that Robbie is kind of blackmailing her and Les. So the thing is, Les was being a good Samaritan by trying to help Janie out of that situation. She didn't listen. Now Les is going to get into trouble, and Janie kind of feels a little embarrassed by that. And she's finally seeing that Robbie isn't this exciting wild guy, that he's kind of a creep. So Janie goes to Les, and they start to talk. Now, Robbie is still concerned about Janie talking. Because again, he has legal liability in this. And it doesn't look like he's going to murk them over this incident. But nevertheless, Robbie, he has things at risk too. He's still a student at this university. So, if he gets kicked out, he has to kiss that tuition goodbye. And this is going to be on his school record and all that. Janie is saying, well, they're suspecting everyone at this point. And we need to do something. Les is saying, listen, we should just fess up, go to the dean of the school and just say, listen, we were in the office and this is what happened, even though there are legal and academic consequences. Going to turn the page. So then Les and Janie, they spilled the beans to the dean. Basically what they're saying is that, yes, we were in the office with some other students. So they're saying that there were 3 people in the office, themselves and this one mystery student. So it's sort of a curved confession, because what they're doing is that they're sort of, you can blame us for what we did, but they're still protecting the other individual and their identity. However, the dean said, you don't have to worry. We know who that other person was, because that weasel snitch ran into the office before you guys did. So it turns out that Robbie confessed because he knew these 2 were going to confess. So Robbie confessed, and because of this, the dean can kind of make out what had happened in the office. And they also mentioned that there was some police confirmation. For example, the police did confirm Officer Miller, or Mr. Miller, he saw you before Robbie left the building. So the police officer confirmed that Robbie was in that building longer and in that office longer than those 2 were. And and they kind of said, they're like, we know that Robbie creeps a bad apple. So we're kind of not going to punish you. But Robbie, we're going to throw the book at. Janie is still beside herself because she saw the good side in Robbie. And Robbie behaved like a rat fiend because Robbie was going to throw these 2 under the bus. At least he tried to. And Janie is bothered by that. How can I have fallen for someone who seems so nice? And there were times where he actually was nice. Les is saying he's a mixed-up kid, Janie. And Les notes that, hey, you kind of liked that guy, didn't you? And then Janie says, yeah, I did, but not now, and I'll get over him someday. And then Les and Janie, they embrace. And she decides that, this is the guy for her, Mr. Establishment, and not Mr. Wild, crazy hippie who wants to change the world. And that's it. They'll probably make it. It seemed in some way she was kind of like lowering her standards. I'm going to look at the advice column. It's just Jeanette. So it's Jeanette Copeland, who's giving advice to the kids in 1971. There's only one letter. And the letter kind of starts off passive aggressively, saying basically, I've written to other publications in their advice columns, and they've never like printed my letter, and so she's kind of feeling a little sorry for herself, kind of dumping a guilt trip here to get her letter printed. But basically, what happened is that she went out on a date with a boy that she liked, but she admitted that she may have, quote, acted silly, meaning that she was acting immature on the date. And apparently, this boy did not like that, and he basically cut all ties. So the thing is that when she showed him who she really was or is, he was like, I need to get the hell away from you. You're just acting like a little baby. So the thing is that she's bothered by that, and she doesn't know whether she should move on or not. And the problem she has with moving on is that she's kind of shy. So she's worried that, okay, I already have this guy, and things aren't going well, and it looks like he doesn't seem interested in me. Should I try to hold out hope for a relationship there? Because she's thinking I might not find another relationship because I have trouble connecting with people. And the thing is, she's noticing that her friends are finding dating easy, but she isn't. She's having a hard time finding another date after this guy. Jeanette says, first of all, it's impossible for every letter to be printed, saying they get so many letters from confused kids. And then she's saying to the young woman here was that you knew you were wrong by acting immature. So you knew that was probably the reason why he broke it off with you. So you shouldn't have been surprised. And that, hey, you acted silly in this one moment and it cost you a lot. But you have to move on from that, and you have to learn not to do that again. That's advice I wish I had been given. She also mentions how the other girls are, saying, like when desperate, very desperate, had said that she feels that she's just as hot as her other girls, and her other girlfriends are getting dates. I should be getting dates easily. And Jeanette is saying basically that if you're not getting as many boyfriends as those, you're probably not as hot as them. Just because you're hanging out with the hot chick doesn't make you a hot chick. So basically she's saying, listen, you're the sidekick. You're the sidekick who makes the others look better, and you're not on their level. And yeah, he's saying that you should stop feeling sorry for yourself and kind of just go out there, try again, be less humble. Saying if you need to take dance classes or so forth, and you need to work on your game. That's what she's saying. So I'm gonna turn the page. See an ad here for a giant dollhouse. I don't think I saw these in the superhero comics. It says it's big enough for the kid to go in there. And there's also an electrical setup there. So you have this very, very probably flammable dollhouse. And you're going to have this small child squishing themselves in there and with electrical circuitry. Yeah. That is asking for bad things to happen. There's an ad for acne and black pimples, blackheads, I should say. I had horrible acne pimples. I never had blackheads though. Turn the page. Take a look at another story called Another Love. The lessons in this story are horrible. The people are horrible in this comic book. Nobody gets to stay together, and no one deserved to be together. Oh, they were terrible. So anyway, we see this couple. One guy's a ginger, and his name is Michael. and he's kissing his girlfriend, which is Gail. Gail is this very beautiful blonde woman, kind of has a Goldie Hawn look to her. And it seems like Michael and Gail are passionately in love. And there's a friend of Gail's named Rosalie, and she's looking longingly at Michael. So the thing is that she's noting that Gail is going to be going out to California in the morning to go to school out there, and but Michael and them still plan on being a couple, just a long distance couple. And the idea is that Rosalie is going to watch over Michael to see that he doesn't cheat. And everyone knows of this arrangement. So basically, Gail is saying, I don't trust you. But nevertheless, Rosalie is been designated the wingman or the wing girl. And she is to keep other ladies who are enticingly beautiful away from him. And Rosalie saying, don't worry, I'll take care of this for you. You're my good friend Gail. And Michael saying, listen, you don't have anything to worry about. Turn the page. And it turns out she does. Because Rosalind, who was looking longingly at Michael and probably had, some romantic feelings toward him, she immediately acts on them. Michael reciprocates. So Gail has been gone, only a few hours at this point, because apparently after they dropped her off at the airport, I guess the two of them, Michael and Rosalie, they decided to go to Santa Monica Beach. So Rosalie's very beautiful brunette here. Some very awkward dialogue where Rosalie's looking into Michael and saying, I'll see that you get it, Dad. And he says, starting when, doll? So, and then she answers back, now, lover. So the two are kissing and embracing at this point. Now, the thing is that they both have a wide circle of friends, and the circle overlaps. So the thing is that if these two start fooling around, they're going to know. Their friends are going to know, which means that at some point Gail is going to know, because one of them is going to snitch them out. But nevertheless, they don't seem concerned about that. They're not even thinking. Michael's totally forgotten about Gail, because when Rosalie brings up her, she goes, I wonder what she's doing now. And Michael says, who? Rosalie says, Gail, that's who. Don't worry about Gail. She'll find a friend out there. So Michael expects Gail to cheat on him. So this is probably not a particularly strong relationship that Michael has with Gail. Gonna turn the page. So anyway, the two are still talking. They're walking along the beach. I recommend, if you're ever in LA, to walk along the Santa Monica and the Venice Beach. It's beautiful. I love doing that. And we see that the two are talking. Rosalie knows that there are drawbacks to this relationship, because she's mentioning that a lot of Gail's friends are not going to like this two-timing. And Michael's saying, listen, I understand that we're going to be seen in public, but, hey, let's just go for it. And then it looks like Rosalind is starting to get some pushback, because a friend of both of them is telling her, Gail will find out, Rosalind. She used to be your best friend. And Rosalind answers back, stop bugging me, Eve. If Gail gets angry, that's her business. So at this point, she's willing to end the friendship that the two of them have over Michael. The word balloons, once again, they're typed. And Rosalie, she's just saying, I have only eyes for you. And Michael's fine with being more publicly affectionate with Rosalie. Because remember, he's apparently a fiancé of Gail's. But nevertheless, they're kissing passionately in public here. And Rosalind's just falling deeper and deeper in love with him. And Rosalind's saying that, I had always had feelings for you even when you were dating Gail. And Michael says, I wasn't in love with Gail, Rosalind. And Rosalind says, do you love me, Michael? You know it, chick. So again, the thing is, Michael's being very insincere. He's very opportunistic. He doesn't have deep relationships. He was fine with breaking up with Gail inadvertently, simply because it's convenient for him. And we see Rosalind; she's falling deeper and deeper, so she's eventually going to have the rug pulled from under her. They're discussing their future, because one of the things that's bothering Michael is that he doesn't have a car. So this, honestly, Michael's just kind of a scammer. So the thing is, he doesn't have a car. He knows Rosalie has access to a car because, while she doesn't have a car herself, she can borrow her mom's car. And the plan is that Rosalie would borrow the mom's car. Then once they're out of sight, Michael would take over driving. So basically, Rosaline is loaning Michael her mom's car. So this arrangement goes on for a while. Michael gets very spoiled because he enjoys access to the car. And it looks like Rosaline and Michael are getting closer and closer. They're here at the drive-in, and they're kissing very passionately. Turn the page. However, it turns out that all good things have to come to an end. And Rosaline's mom wants her car back because I guess they've been loaning it out by such a time that it was just becoming inconvenient for the mom. Michael's very entitled, so he doesn't take the news of him having to give up the wheels very well. In fact, that seems to be the only reason why he was dating Rosaline, because he wanted access to the car. He throws a temper tantrum. He takes the keys and he throws them on the ground. And then he breaks up with her and he tells her that she wasn't very good. So Michael's kind of being a bit of an immature weasel here. Rosalind is quite hurt by this, but she accepts it. She says, goodbye, Michael. So she says as much as she gave her heart to this guy, she also realized that, he turned out to be no good. And Rosalind seems angry at herself because she's going, I've lost him, as if she was the one who was at fault here. But then what happened is that it turned out their friends were disappointed in Rosalind. So they don't really want to hang out with her. So she's on the outs with them. But then what happened was Gail flew back from California to wherever they were. Gail was not angry at Rosalind. And she knew that Michael was a creep and she wanted to break up with him. But she wanted to do it somewhat indirectly, very passively, I should say. So when Gail flew out to California, it was goodbye as far as she was concerned, because she knew what a weasel Michael was. And the thing is, she set up the whole thing with her and Rosaline, Mike and Rosaline, so that Rosaline can experience what a jerk-off Mike is, or Michael is. That makes any sense. So the thing is, it looks like one friend stuck the other with a knife, but it turned out that the other one preemptively took the knife out first and said, "I'm gonna teach you a lesson. I'm gonna teach you a lesson. I'm gonna foist this terrible shit on you." So yeah, that was kind of a weird story. Thank God they both got away from this creep. I guess that's the only positive. So I'm gonna go to the last story. It's not drawn by an artist I'm familiar with. It does sort of look like a guy. My guess is that this artist must have drawn album covers. So, because I kind of get that aesthetic. It's very much commercial artwork. This is a person who was trained in drawing ads on in newspapers. not necessarily being a comic book artist. It's extremely well drawn. I got a feeling that this person kind of lived this story. And it's called A Cry Among Strangers. And our protagonists are Anita, Larry, although Larry doesn't last too long. And I think the other guy is Russ. Okay, so we see Anita. She's with Larry here. Everybody in school, it looks like it's high school. Everybody in school knows that the two will be breaking up. And the two will be breaking up because Anita and her family, they are moving to Nebraska. So this kind of breakup has been foisted on them at this point. Kind of the student body, the girls, they're making fun of the two of them because they know the situation. And they're saying that your love will not, withstand this. And it turns out that the boyfriend's very popular. He's a very good-looking guy. So it looks like there's a lot of other girls who want to date him, including, it looks like Yoko Ono here wants to date this guy. So anyway, Larry and Anita, they're embracing. Anita does not want to go to Nebraska. She knows she has to because she's not a legalized adult at this point. Larry's kind of a jerk off here, though. So it's not like he's a caring boyfriend. And he says to her, "They're just bugging you, chick. I told you, you'll still be my woman no matter where you move." So he's kind of putting on this very possessive energy here. So the family, Anita and her parents, they're driving in this station wagon here, and they're driving out to Nebraska.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska?
Turn the page. So anyway, they arrive in Nebraska. They find that the state has much more diversity than they thought. They thought it was just going to be a place filled with rows of cornfields. And they're finding out, though, that's not the case. They have some beautiful natural surroundings. They have a large, cattle industry. So there's a lot of dairy animals around waiting to be slaughtered. But the thing is that, well, the father and the wife, they're excited about this move to Nebraska. The daughter isn't, and Dad's saying Nebraska is just a great place. So I got a feeling that this artist probably was from Nebraska, and just wanted to kind of make a statement about that. So it turns out that where Anita and her parents have moved to is a ranch. But the thing is, it's next door to another ranch that's much larger and much more farm-centric. Because the thing is that the home that Anita's parents bought, it's just a basic split-level home, sort of like the Brady Bunch. Whereas it appears that their next-door neighbors, they live in this mansion. But the thing is, the mansion is sort of designed, at least the roof, like a barn. So it's given the idea that these people are very rich and they're very rural. Turn the page. So anyway, Anita, she's trying to break in. It looks like the home is definitely well furnished. So they're not in need of material items. But the thing is, that emotional emptiness, that's what Anita's feeling. The thing is, I think Anita still has to go by bus. So apparently this woman, I mean, even though she's supposedly in college, she's still in high school. So they're kind of infantiling her. I forgot she's in high school. Apparently, the mom is talking about Russ. Russ is the next door neighbors. And what happened, they're saying that, hey, Russ also goes to school there. So if you need a lift to the school, Russ will be able to do it. So in case Anita misses the bus, she will at least can contact this guy Russ, and he'll drive her to school. Russ is like a senior. He's kind of like an older student. He dresses like Roy Rogers here, and he's saying howdy, and he's pleased to meet you, and saying, "Don't you like this truck here, little girlie?" And Anita is introducing herself, saying that truck looks groovy to me. And they're about to enter the truck, and Anita notices the rifle racket, because a lot of these rural places, they will have a kind of like a rifle rack in the back. And Russ is saying, yeah, sometimes I use it. I have to murk small animals. You impressed by that, babe? And I'm going to turn the page. He says he uses to protect his livestock. So he's a working rancher. Then Anita and Russ, they're just talking about their past. Anita's saying that I have to spend the summer here, but next summer I can go back to, I guess, New York. So Russ is saying, Russ is just describing his life here. He's just saying, this is just amazing, this life. How wonderful it is to be in this rural part of America. And she's impressed by this, saying, listen, this is a man's man. He knows how to take care of business. But eventually they have to part ways to go to the classes. But before then, it looks like Russ is introducing Anita to all the kids. He's saying, hey, this is Anita. She's from Jersey. And she isn't sure she's going to like it here or not. And one of the girls that they meet says, listen, I came from New York. And I transplanted from New York to Nebraska, and I love Nebraska. Nebraska is the bee's knees. And then, this kind of softens Anita's stance, because it looks like, she came from a kind of a big city place, and now she's in this small town rural area. She's thinking to herself, they use slang I've never heard, and every boy I've met has a girl. I'll always be an outsider. So she has a little tear in her eye, not thinking that she'll ever fit in. Russ is still hanging around. This is weird, because it's supposed to be a high school, but it sort of has a feel of kind of like a bohemian school, where they just are involved with the intellectual pursuits. I'm gonna turn the page. So the three are in the car here. That would be Russ, Anita, and the friend that they made. That was the friend that was with Russ. So this is Russ's friend. And it looks like Anita's making friends. She's making friends with Russ, and she's making friends with Polly. And Polly is inviting Anita to a party. So they just met, and she was like, hey, I want to hang out with this chick. And the thing is, they still have to do some farm work before the big party. It looks like Anita is still thinking of the old boyfriend. And she still thinks that they're a thing together. He really hasn't contacted her since she left. So the thing is, she's on one hand carrying this torch, but on the other hand, she's recognizing that this guy has made no attempt to reach out to her. And she's also thinking for living conditions. As again, we see the ranch here again, beautifully drawn by this artist. There's kind of a Tom Tomorrow look to this artist. Also a little bit of Frank Springer, who I thought was always a pretty good artist. So anyway, what's happening is that even though Anita, is that her name? I forgot her. Anita. Even though Anita is showing some homesickness, nevertheless, she's actually thriving in Nebraska. Her relationship with Russ is growing bigger and bigger. Russ is on the football team. Anita is on the cheerleading team because she's really beautiful and she's very impressionable. She's just, again, she was just a little homesick, but nevertheless she's doing well, and she's getting closer and closer to Russ. And they're kind of working on their schoolwork here, and then they're kind of having fun on this recreational snow vehicle. It looks like Anita's driving it too fast. We hear Russ saying, "Slow down, woman. Dad brought this gadget for rounding up stray cattle, not flying low." So this is a device used on the ranch whenever they have to look for some of the cattle that might have wandered off. And the two are getting closer and closer. Russ is thanking Anita for helping with the schoolwork and for other things, and the two passionately kiss. And someone took Russ's eyeball here. So anyway, Anita gets home. She's really tired. Very well drawn panel here. Although Anita's dad looks really super creepy here. He looks super creepy. I'm just wondering whether he's going to ask Anita to sit on his lap. But nevertheless, the two are talking. And the dad made a decision that they're going to buy Anita a car. They recognize that they're putting a lot of burden on Russ, and they're also putting a lot of burden on her because she has to rely on Russ, and if Russ doesn't show up, she's kind of stuck. But nevertheless, the parents do recognize this, so they said, "Listen, we're going to get you your own car, so you can drive yourself, to and from work." But the thing is that she's playing kind of the helpless female trope, in that she wants the car, but she wants it to be so that it's actually her mom's car. And the thing is, they're going to pretend that the second car is actually for the mom rather than the daughter, so the daughter can continue to kind of hang out with Russ. And I guess it's fine because if Russ doesn't show up one day, the mom can drive Anita to school and back. So anyway, that's the plan. Kind of playing the helpless damsel in distress. And they're talking about their vacation time. And the thing is, they made a promise that the following school year, Anita can go wherever she wants. And they're saying, "Listen, okay, we're going to understand that you're going to want to go back to the old hometown." But the thing is, Anita doesn't want to do that. She says that, "I've forgotten that world and that boy, and I'm here with Russ, and your love of Nebraska is my love of Nebraska." And that's about it. I guess it's fine. Anita, she accepted lower expectations. She was fine being in this hometown girl in rural America, which might have been kind of a hellscape. And I guess as long as Anita knows her place, I guess they'll be fine. Turn the page, and that's pretty much it. Here's a full page ad for Charleston's romance titles. They had a lot of titles, though. I've really grown into reading these romance comics. Here's an ad for weight loss. It looks like there's like a 60-year-old woman in a bikini. Okay, and that's it. And that is my review of Teenage Love, issue number 75. And I hope to have more reviews up soon. Bye.